A nurse mysteriously went missing on the day she returned home to visit her parents, and her in-laws insisted that she had run away with another man. However, her younger brother had a bad feeling about his sister's disappearance, as he frequently had strange dreams. When he started searching for his sister, the man was shocked to see a strange cactus pot surrounded by incense ashes, as if someone had burned them. But why would incense be burned at the spot where the cactus was planted? Could there be a terrifying secret hidden behind it? Before we begin the story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive notifications whenever there's a new video. This is a true case that happened in Jieshou City, Anhui Province, China. The main character in this story is Yang Gang, who is serving a prison sentence in Shanghai. He has an older sister named Yang Wen, a nurse who, according to her in-laws, had run away with another man long ago. However, he did not believe these slanderous words because his sister was not the type of woman to be unfaithful. Moreover, his sister loved her only son very much and would never abandon him. After months of searching, their parents in their hometown also gave up hope, unable to find any trace of their daughter. His sister's mysterious disappearance gave him an uneasy feeling, especially since he frequently had strange dreams. "Brother, there's a thorn on me. Please pull it out for me." Yang Wen stood in the dark ruins, continuously using her hands to pluck the thorns from her body. Seeing his sister standing in the darkness, Yang Gang hurriedly shone a flashlight to help her. However, he was shocked to see her body covered in cactus thorns. He rushed to help her pull out each thorn, but the more he pulled, the more they grew. They spread from the soles of her feet to the top of her head. In no time, his sister's entire body looked like a cactus. In his distraction, Yang Gang's finger was pricked by a thorn, causing it to bleed. At that moment, he woke up in shock. It was just a dream. This wasn't the first time Yang Gang had dreamed of his sister. For many years, he had often had strange dreams about her. But these dreams were not the same. Sometimes, he dreamed of his sister being trapped in a dark place with no light. Sometimes he dreamed of his sister crying for help while standing in a cold place, her hair soaking wet, her face sad, and constantly calling his name, Yang Gang. Although the details of the dreams were different, they all had one thing in common: his sister was pleading for help to escape the dark night. However, this was the first time he had dreamed of his sister's entire body covered in cactus thorns. He thought that perhaps his sister's mysterious disappearance might be related to this thorny plant. Why was it a cactus, and what did it have to do with his sister's disappearance? Could finding the cactus mean finding his sister? Yang Gang was certain that something had happened to his sister, but every time his family visited her in-laws, they were not only driven away, but also subjected to harsh words. "How dare you come to my house looking for her? Your daughter ran away with another man long ago. A daughter-in-law like that only brings shame to our family. Aren't you ashamed to have such a daughter?" These were some of the cruel words spoken by the Zhang family when Mr. and Mrs. Yang came looking for their daughter. Their son-in-law, Zhang Mowei, was not present, but he also showed no concern about his wife's disappearance. In May 2007, Yang Wen called her parents to inform them that she was planning to visit them and their relatives. However, after waiting an entire day, they still did not see their daughter arrive, and they were unable to contact her by phone. Worried, Mr. and Mrs. Yang called their son-in-law, but he angrily scolded the elderly couple and hung up. After waiting several days without any news of their daughter, they traveled to Anhui to search for her. However, when they arrived, the Zhang family drove them out of the house and continuously insulted them. They insisted that their daughter had run away with another man, abandoning both her husband and child. Feeling helpless in their search, Mr. and Mrs. Yang hurried to the police station to report their daughter missing. The news of his sister's disappearance reached Yang Gang while he was serving his prison sentence in Shanghai. Hearing what his parents said, Yang Gang was certain that something terrible had happened to his sister. However, the irony was that, being in prison, he was unable to help his parents deal with the situation outside. Yang Gang was the fifth child in the family, and the missing person was his third sister, Yang Wen. who was 8 years older than him. The whole family lived in Jugang Town, Wokyu County, Luan City, Anhui Province. Due to financial difficulties, their parents were always busy working, so the responsibility of taking care of her younger brother was entrusted to Yang Wen. As a result, Yang Gang grew up under his sister's care and was very close to her, sharing everything with her. He even considered his third sister as a mother figure. Due to poor academic performance, he dropped out of school when he entered junior high. At that time, his sister Yang Wen had already married and moved to Jieshou City, Anhui Province, Indo-EE. Yang Wen worked as a nurse at a local hospital and was described as kind and pretty. With such good conditions, everyone believed that Yang Wen's future would be promising. In 1995, through work, Yang Wen met Zhang Mowei, the son of a well-off family working in the armed police force. Although Zhang had an average appearance, he was very persuasive. Under his persistent pursuit, Yang Wen quickly fell for him. Since her husband's family was in the construction materials business, she called her younger brother to come and help. Despite being young and inexperienced, Yang Gang soon realized that his sister's life with her in-laws was not happy at all. His sister's mother-in-law was overbearing and harsh, frequently scolding Yang Wen over trivial household matters. She believed that Yang Wen was neither good at business nor capable of taking care of her child, constantly finding faults with her daughter-in-law. Yang Wen's husband, Zhang Mowei, always sided with his mother and even resorted to physical violence against his wife. Witnessing his sister being mistreated by her in-laws, Yang Gang was furious and wanted to fight back against his brother-in-law, but his sister always stopped him. Seeing his sister's unhappy life, Yang Gang became disheartened and decided to leave their business, moving to Shanghai to find work on his own. In early 2007, Yang Gang was imprisoned due to his involvement in illegal business dealings. Unexpectedly, by mid-year, he received news of his sister's disappearance. Helpless and in pain, Yang Gang could do nothing to assist his family. While in prison, he frequently had strange dreams related to his sister. In 2011, after being released from prison, the first thing Yang Gang did was travel to Anhui to investigate his sister's disappearance. Unfortunately, the house where his sister used to live with her in-laws was no longer the same. The old street-facing house had been demolished and replaced with a 3-story building with 3 facades, featuring numerous store signs outside. Strangely, the new house was built with an unusually high foundation, different from the neighboring houses. Yang Gang asked around the neighbors and managed to get his brother-in-law Zhang's phone number. Zhang Mowei claimed that his wife missed her younger brother so much that she personally made steamed buns at home and brought them from Anhui to Shanghai to visit Yang Gang in prison. Upon hearing this, Yang Gang found it strange because his sister had never visited him during the time she went missing. After Yang Gang denied it, Zhang then said that his wife had run away with another man. He even claimed to have found a letter that Yang Wen had left behind. In the letter, Yang Wen wrote that she no longer wanted to stay in that house and had chosen to leave with the man she loved. However, when Yang Gang requested to see the letter, his brother-in-law refused, saying that too much time had passed and he no longer remembered where he had put it. Feeling that his brother-in-law's words were suspicious, Yang Gang was determined to go to the police station to request a re-investigation of his sister's disappearance. However, when he arrived at the police station in Jieshou City, Anhui Province, he was shocked by the authorities' response. According to police records, a case file for his sister's disappearance had been opened in 2009. In 2010, Yang's brother-in-law, Zhang Mowei, was interrogated as a suspect in his wife's disappearance. However, due to a lack of evidence, Zhang Mowei was released shortly afterward. What was even more shocking was that, under mediation from relevant parties, Yang Gang's parents had signed an agreement with their son-in-law. The agreement stated that Zhang Mowei would pay an annual support amount of 6,000 Wen to Mr. and Mrs. Yang. In return, the Yang family had to promise not to hold him accountable for Yang Wen's disappearance. The actions of the Zhang family made Yang Gang increasingly suspicious. He believed that his brother-in-law had taken advantage of his elderly parents to make them sign an invalid agreement. The fact that his entire family had stopped searching for his sister only made him more determined. He decided that no matter what others did, he would never give up looking for his sister. In the following years, Yang Gang worked to earn money while continuously reporting updates to the relevant authorities, hoping to restart the investigation into his sister's disappearance. For many long years, he persisted and refused to give up. Yang Gang embarked on the journey to find his sister, but it was not easy at all. Whenever he heard news about his sister, he would use his savings to travel to the location and verify the information. Even when the information turned out to be false, he still went to investigate, not wanting to miss any opportunity. To finance his travels to various cities for the investigation, Yang Gang had to sell a piece of land, exchanging it for 300,000 yuan to cover expenses. In the following years, Yang Gang started his own business, which turned out to be quite successful. He hired several lawyers to help support the search for his sister, who had been missing for many years. However, what made him most suspicious was still the Zhang family's house, which had been rented out for business purposes. Ever since he visited the newly rebuilt house after his release from prison, he had found it strange due to its unusually high foundation. After asking around, he learned that the Zhang family had renovated the backyard, which spanned hundreds of square meters. Although he wanted to check inside, he had no way of getting in, as his sisters-in-laws always made things difficult for him. His opportunity finally came in 2021, by which time his sister had been missing for 14 years. In 2021, his nephew, Zhang Yunming, held a grand wedding ceremony. His family was also invited to attend the wedding, however. Upon arrival, they noticed that some members of the Zhang family looked uneasy. Ignoring this, Yang Gang saw it as an opportunity to enter the backyard of the newly built Zhang family house and investigate. After having his fill at the banquet, he left the table and wandered around to inspect his brother-in-law's new house. Upon reaching the backyard, he was surprised by how spacious it was, but it was cluttered with items everywhere. As his eyes scanned the surroundings, he suddenly saw his nephew, Zhang Yunming, standing alone, sobbing. When he approached, he was stunned to see that the spot where his nephew was crying had a large iron bucket in the corner of the yard, and inside it was a plump cactus covered in sharp thorns. What was even more eerie was that it seemed someone had burned incense next to the cactus, as incense ashes were scattered all around the bucket. Instantly, a scene from one of his dreams flashed through Yang Gang's mind. In the dream, he heard his sister crying for help. "Brother, my body is covered in thorns. Please help me. Pull them out." Suddenly realizing something, Yang Gang stared intently at the cactus in the bucket, noticing that the incense ashes nearby were still warm. As he stood in front of the cactus, Zhang Yunming quickly pulled him away, saying the area was too dirty. Knowing for sure that there was something unusual beneath the cactus, Yang Gang did not return home immediately, but instead began asking neighbors about the Zhang family. A neighbor revealed that on the 1st and 15th of each lunar month, Zhang Mowei would occasionally come to the backyard to burn incense and offer prayers. What puzzled them was that he always stood in front of the cactus while performing the rituals. His nephew, Zhang Yunming, was also aware of this and would sometimes burn incense there as well. Hearing this, Yang Gang was now almost certain of his sister's whereabouts. However, he couldn't just use his strange dreams and the neighbor's words as a reason to obtain permission to dig up the backyard, so he remained silent, waiting for the right opportunity. Meanwhile, he didn't stay idle and immediately submitted a request for the police to investigate Zhang Mowei's activities. Yang Gang knew that Zhang was formerly part of the armed police force, but later took early retirement and entered the construction materials business, amassing a huge fortune. Zhang Mowei had bribed several people to warn Yang Gang to stop searching for his sister. Seeing the situation becoming dangerous, Yang had no choice but to pretend to give up the search. He acted as if he had turned to heavy drinking and spent time partying at bars. Even his family was deceived by his act, as he wanted Zhang to truly believe that he had abandoned the search for his sister. By early 2022, he finally found a good opportunity to reopen the case. In January 2022, the newly appointed governor of Anhui province visited various localities to receive petitions and meet with residents. Knowing this was his only chance, Yang Gang, through his lawyer, submitted all documents related to his sister's 15-year disappearance to the mayor's office. Each passing day, he anxiously waited for a response that would allow the case to be reopened. In the following months, he dreamed of his sister less frequently. Yang Gang knew that the day the truth would be revealed was drawing near. By the end of June that year, the police department had established a special task force to investigate Yang Wen's disappearance from 2007. On July 21st, news of Zhang Mowei's arrest lifted a huge burden off Yang Gang's shoulders. After 21 days of interrogation, under police pressure, Zhang finally confessed the truth about what had happened years ago. It turned out that Zhang Maowei had murdered his wife during an argument and buried her body in the backyard 15 years ago. To mark the burial spot, he planted a cactus in an iron bucket and placed it on top. Fearing that her ghost would come back to haunt him, he would secretly visit the site on the 1st and 15th of every lunar month to burn incense. To avoid suspicion, he fabricated the story that his wife had run away with another man. Furthermore, to divert attention, he decided to rebuild the house and rent it out. Once the truth was revealed, 2 days later, the police escorted Zhang to the burial site and brought in excavators to dig up the area. After hours of excavation, the police finally found Yang Wen's remains buried underground for 15 years. At last, the poor woman saw the light of day again, but in the most tragic way possible. On the day the truth came to light, Yang Gang couldn't hold back his tears. Although he had long suspected Zhang Moei as the murderer, he still couldn't comprehend why his sister had met such a tragic end. As he burned paper money for his sister, despite the windless day, the ashes swirled into a circle reaching head height. Many neighbors in the area believed that his sister had died unjustly and could not rest in peace. Furious at the Zhang family's 15-year cover-up of the crime, Yang Gang bought numerous funeral wreaths and placed them in front of the house where his sister was buried. After overcoming his grief, Yang Gang vowed that the true murderer must pay for his crimes. At that moment, his nephew, Zhang Yunming, appeared. Having held a grand wedding in 2021, he had rarely spoken to Yang Gang. Zhang Yunming bought many gifts, knelt before the Yang family, cried, and apologized, promising to stay neutral and not get involved in his father's affairs. However, just a few days later, his attitude suddenly changed. Zhang Yunming approached Yang Gang, handed him a document and said, "Uncle, please sign it. The other Yang family members have all signed. You're the only one left." It turned out that Zhang Yunming wanted his uncle to sign a petition requesting leniency for his father. What infuriated Yang Gang even more was that his siblings and parents had already signed the agreement without his knowledge. Seeing Yang Gang's anger as he threw the document to the ground, Yunming said that all the other Yang family members had agreed to write a plea for forgiveness. He even offered to compensate Yang Gang with 2 million yuan if he agreed to sign the petition and let the matter go. Looking at his strange nephew in front of him, who looked exactly like his murderous father, with no resemblance to his sister, Yang Gang felt heartbroken. He still remembered that the only reason his sister had refused to divorce her unworthy husband was to take care of Zhang Yunming. She had pinned all her hopes for the future on her son and devoted nearly all her love to him. However, despite growing up under his mother's care and affection, Zhang Yunming ultimately chose to defend the murderer. In a fit of rage, Yang Gang kicked Zhang Yunming out of his house and ordered him never to contact him again. Perhaps feeling ashamed after being rejected by Yang Gang, Zhang Yunming's behavior became increasingly outrageous. At the first court hearing, Zhang Yunming barely spoke a few words before loudly arguing with Yang Gang, accusing him of destroying his family. After that incident, Yang Gang completely cut ties with his nephew and refused to see him again. "Your mother's greatest pain was giving birth to and raising an ungrateful child like you," he said. In reality, Yang Gang had never considered signing any petition or agreement to reduce the sentence for the murderer. He thought that if Zhang Mowei had voluntarily turned himself in, confessed everything, and expressed genuine remorse for what happened to his sister, he would have been willing to write a letter of forgiveness. But 15 years had passed, and Zhang Mowei had remained silent about his sister's disappearance. If he had given up the search, the truth would have remained buried forever, and the murderer would have continued to live freely for 15 years. Although Zhang Mowei wept bitterly after the police exposed the truth and claimed to be remorseful, Yang Gang believed that his so-called brother-in-law had no genuine intention of repenting. "I have never considered reconciling with the murderer, let alone forgiving him," Yang Gang declared to the Zhang family. He remained firm in his decision, despite repeated pleas from his family. Yang Gang refused any financial compensation. His only hope was for the murderer to pay with his life. In October 2023, the court's initial verdict concluded that the case was due to family conflicts. Zhang Mowei confessed to his crime, pleaded guilty, and accepted his punishment, ultimately receiving a suspended death sentence for 2 years. In China, a suspended death sentence allows for a 2-year delay in execution. This sentence is often commuted to life imprisonment if the convict does not commit further serious crimes within those 2 years. Naturally, Yang Gang did not accept this outcome and appealed, demanding the highest possible death penalty for Zhang Mowei. In addition to seeking the death penalty, he also demanded that other members of the Zhang family be held accountable. He believed that the murderer's parents and even his son, Zhang Yunming, should pay for their actions. In June 2023, the prosecution rejected Yang Gang's appeal. He then filed a second petition with the Anhui Provincial High Court. Many friends and family members advised him to give up, but the man refused to accept defeat. "If I give up halfway, my sister will forever remain buried beneath that cactus," he said in anguish. Before 2022, the local authorities did not actively address the case and even tried to dissuade him from pursuing it. The yellowed receipts kept by Mr. and Mrs. Awazisan Yang over the years showed that the police had little interest in the case. He could not understand to what extent they feared the influence of Zhang Mowei's family to ignore such a major crime. "I don't need money. What I want is fair and equal treatment," he stated. The mysterious disappearance case of the nurse, who appeared in her brother's dreams for 15 consecutive years, comes to an end here. Please share your thoughts, feelings, and opinions about this story in the comments section below the video. That's the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. This will help us continue to bring you more meaningful content. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next videos.